All right, let's continue the discussion then on this, particularly with Mitchell's Plain Community Policing Forum chairperson Norman Jantjies, who joins us now. Then, Norman, thank you so much for the time. We had spoken as well on Friday just with regards to this, the calls for greater awareness, boots, everything on the ground was a massive call that you had made when we last spoke. What is that sense now? Is that actually coming together in any way? Are you seeing any kind of rushed attendance? And the call for the South African National Defence Force, how important is that to you? And do you feel that that is absolutely necessary?
You know what, for us, it's not just about the army. I can understand the desperation from the community side when they say we need the army. We're not necessarily saying we need the army, but we need improved policing. So we need more resources, we need more equipped staff members, because so many cases are being withdrawn at court. So because of poor investigations, we also need better intelligence, because how can you not be able to have intelligence that gives you some information about the pending murders and shootings on this level?
The shootings on this level, it's not even new, right? So, of course, people are worried now. They're absolutely concerned and saying enough is enough and are calling for a little bit more than to be done at this stage. The communication you're perhaps getting from communities, yes, but also from police. What is that like right now?
So what we did, we've approached the Provincial Commissioner of Police's office yesterday. So we're demanding a meeting this week. So it will probably happen in the course of the next 2 or 3 days. We want to actually discuss these things with him. Our dissatisfaction with the level of policing that we are receiving in Mitchell's Plain. So we also want to know what his plans are. And he must hear from us our frustrations and our fear and our trauma that we're going through on a regular basis. And like we said, this is not just about policing. It's about a whole of society approach. So we need to deal with the social issues as well. So all the other government, the relevant government departments will have to come to the party. But our first call now is our meeting with the provincial commissioner, and then we want to take it from there. We also will be reaching out this week to the president's office with this commission of inquiry that we feel is desperately needed. And out of this commission of inquiry, hopefully integrated plan will develop that can deal once and for all with the issue of gangsterism and gang violence.
Yeah, one wonders, however, that if you antagonize the situation, it gets even worse. And obviously that's what you're trying to avoid. That's why you spoke about the other departments that perhaps should get involved. Let's just talk about those other departments. What are you thinking here? Is this social development perhaps getting a little bit more involved? Housing getting involved because of the fights that perhaps happen here? Who else do you think should be getting involved?
For me, social development is very important. You know, we only have a handful of social workers for this massive community in Mitchell's Plain. We've got plus minus 1 million residents. And we only have 3 school social workers, school safety officers, and they serve the entire southern part of Cape Town. In other words, they serve a few districts, about 12 police districts they're serving. So that needs to be addressed. Because our truancy level is very high, our dropout level is very high, our unemployment rate is very high. And then, of course, we've got the issue of substance abuse and lack of facilities, because most of our community centers is out of reach for our ordinary young people to play games, to study, and to interact with other people and develop life skills.
Yeah. Are you finding that more people are looking to join your community policing forum at this stage, or have the numbers dwindled out of fear?
There's a keenness to get involved. There's a keenness from community members also to become neighborhood watch. But I think there's this fear, and there's also a feeling of hopelessness. What's the use the community get involved and we don't see the same passion from the government side to hold hands with us so that we can actually move forward. We don't see this as our problem. We see it as or the community's problem on its own. It's all of our problems, but we don't have the resources. We can't build schools. We can't create jobs necessarily on a big scale. We can't deal with the trauma. We can't deal with the unemployment, like I said. So we need that partnership. And the city, of course, the city is responsible for the facilities. The city is also responsible for the installation of infrastructure like number plate detectors, CCTV cameras, and so on. And so it needs to be a collective effort. They're responsible for the community centers, for the sports facilities. So that's just two departments. But then there's arts and culture. There is housing, like you said. There's labor. There's economic development. All of these departments need to work in an integrated manner. Because what we have now is a silo approach. Nobody's holding anyone accountable. And we've got councillors that shows very, very little interest in the well-being of Mitchells Plain, especially when it comes to safety.
Norman, intelligence is very important here, and the coming forward of a whole lot of people to give information is very helpful in a situation like this, because then you can root out the causes, you can root out the crime itself. Is it important now, is it about time to get even greater training for people to understand intelligence, how to share it, how to deliver it, and how to help the community at large then in order to end the scourge?
Yes, I think that is very important. So we are encouraging people to report matters in a confidential way. And they must talk to someone that they trust, whether it is a police officer, whether it is a neighbor, whether it is a member of a neighborhood watch or a community police forum member. We do encourage that. And of course, there's also the tip-off line of SANDF, if it's related to extortion and other things. So we're urging people, but at the same time, we do understand there's an element of fear, because we've had cases in Mitchells Plain where people came to give information reliably to WhatsApps, and the next minute they were killed or they were confronted by the perpetrators as such. So there is this element of fear and distrust. The level of the trust deficit between the community and the police is still massive. And we need to reach out in a big way so that we can regain the confidence of the community.
What about just retaliation here? Are you concerned about that being a significant cause, and that could ultimately see more deaths happening here as well? Because some may feel as though it's just the first port of call is to react, and that reaction may tend to violence, or it may tend to the call of bringing the army in, which could antagonize the situation even further.
So as a CPF, we're not calling for the involvement of the army at this point in time. We want to see the outcome of our engagement with the provincial commissioner this week. And based on that meeting, we will then decide whether we must call for the army. But our call for the commissioner of inquiry is still there, and reaching out to the president. And I think we also need to engage with the premier of the Western Cape. You can't just come to Mitchells Plain when it's election time. You must now come to the party. Mitchells Plain needs intervention. And most of these social crime interventions resorts within the province. So we want to call upon these politicians and the mayor to really come to the party in a big way and engage us, ask us what the problem is, and then address that problem together with us. So yes, we're asking the community, and of course there's the problem of retaliation. Many of the murders this week is because of retaliation, because that's just the way it is. And we expect more retaliation. That's why we need the boots on the ground. SAPS needs to patrol, especially in these high volatile areas. And we're also asking our neighborhood watch members and the community members to be vigilant. And when they see anything that's untoward, to report it to the relevant authorities.